Welcome to Eerie Tales. Tonight, we dive into the heart of one of Australia's most unsettling and dark chapters in modern history. Hidden deep in the forests of Ferntree Gully, Victoria, lies a house with a terrifying past, home to a notorious cult and the haunting spirit of Anne Hamilton-Byrne. But this isn't just any house. It's said to be haunted by dark spirits lingering from the cult's twisted history. In the 1970s and 1980s, Anne Hamilton-Byrne led a group called The Family. Beneath the surface of this idyllic-looking home lay a world of manipulation, cruelty, and spiritual deceit. What was once a place of supposed healing turned into a prison for the children who were taken from their families, brainwashed, and forced to live under Hamilton-Byrne's control. The house in Ferntree Gully became the headquarters for The Family, a cult led by Anne Hamilton-Byrne, a charismatic woman who convinced followers she was the reincarnation of Christ. With the promise of spiritual enlightenment, Hamilton-Byrne gathered a group of loyalists who believed she had divine powers. The cult became a secretive and disturbing community, hiding away from the outside world, practicing bizarre rituals, and systematically brainwashing its followers. But it was the children of the family who suffered the most. Hamilton-Byrne adopted dozens of children, many of them taken from vulnerable families or stolen from hospitals. These children were raised in isolation, subjected to physical and mental abuse, and forced to follow the cult's twisted beliefs. Their lives were dictated by Hamilton-Byrne's orders, with no freedom and no escape. The children were dressed identically, their hair dyed blonde to look like a perfect family. But behind the facade of unity, there was cruelty. They were kept in darkness, and any attempt at rebellion or disobedience was met with punishment, both physical and psychological. And then, when the Australian authorities finally uncovered the family in the late 1980s, Anne Hamilton-Byrne's carefully constructed world began to crumble. The children were rescued, but many of them would be left with scars that would last a lifetime. The house in Ferntree Gully, once the epicenter of this twisted cult, still stands today empty, abandoned, and rumoured to be haunted by the dark spirits of the past. Those brave enough to venture near the house in Ferntree Gully have reported unsettling encounters, strange sounds, ghostly figures, and an overwhelming sense of dread. The property itself is surrounded by dense forests, making it feel isolated and cut off from the rest of the world. But it's not just the location that's terrifying. It's the spirits that still roam the grounds. One eyewitness, a local resident named Sarah, recalls a chilling encounter she had while walking through the woods near the house. "I was just a few hundred meters from the house when I felt a sudden cold breeze wash over me," Sarah said. "I stopped, thinking I might have walked into a draft. But as I turned to look back at the house, I saw a figure in the window. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, until the figure started moving. It was as if someone was watching me, and then it faded away." Sarah isn't the only one who's had eerie encounters. Several other locals claim to have heard strange noises at night, echoes of cries, footsteps, and the sound of children whispering. One man, named David, who had ventured close to the house with a group of friends, recounts a terrifying experience. "We thought we heard someone crying, like a child in distress. We followed the sound, but there was nothing there. The air felt heavy, oppressive. It was like something was watching us. We ran as fast as we could." The cult's dark past seems to have left an indelible mark on the property. Many believe the spirits of the children raised in this place, abused, manipulated, and isolated, still linger, trapped in their torment. But there's another spirit that haunts the house: the presence of Anne Hamilton-Byrne herself. One evening, a group of paranormal investigators decided to visit the abandoned house in Ferntree Gully to conduct a séance. They had heard the rumours, the whispers of dark spirits, the cold spots, and the strange occurrences. But they had no idea what they were about to encounter. The team set up their equipment in the house's old living room. The room was dimly lit, and the air felt thick, heavy with the memories of the past. As they gathered around the table, the lead investigator, Michael, called out to any spirits that might be present. "Is there anyone here with us?" he asked, his voice steady but anxious. At first, there was no response. But then, the temperature in the room dropped sharply. The investigators could see their breath in the air, and a feeling of dread washed over them. It wasn't until they started to hear faint footsteps, slow and deliberate, that the room's energy changed. Then, a cold, sharp voice cut through the silence. "You shouldn't have come here," the voice said. It was low, almost mocking, but unmistakably feminine. The investigators froze, unsure if the voice was real or a trick of the mind. But then, the air became suffocating, and they felt an invisible force pressing down on them. The temperature dropped further, and the smell of incense and something rotten filled the room. Suddenly, a dark shadow moved across the far wall, tall, imposing, with the shape of a woman. The investigators gasped as the shadow moved closer, and the voice spoke again, now a harsh whisper. "Leave, or suffer the consequences." One of the investigators, Rachel, swore she saw a figure standing behind the group. A woman dressed in white, her face obscured, but with the unmistakable presence of authority. As Rachel turned to look, the figure vanished, but the air remained thick, as if the spirit was still there, watching, waiting. Panicked, the group rushed to leave the house, but the door slammed shut behind them. It was only when they managed to force the door open and escape into the night that the oppressive feeling lifted. As they stood outside, looking back at the house, they saw one last thing: a figure standing at the window, staring at them with cold, dark eyes. The house in Ferntree Gully stands as a chilling reminder of the horrors that took place within its walls. The spirits of the children who were once trapped there, as well as the dark energy left behind by Anne Hamilton-Byrne, still linger in the house to this day. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, one thing is certain: the family left a legacy of darkness that continues to haunt those who dare to venture near. Thank you for joining us tonight on Eerie Tales. Be sure to subscribe for more spine-chilling ghost stories, haunted places, and dark mysteries. Until next time, stay safe and always be wary of what lurks in the shadows.